This is why I need a tool company to make me a tool for this. That's honestly never happened, folks. Nope, I felt it go down. I don't want to ruin the bushing, and I'm not going to. Frigger. Let me come up with something. And to make matters worse, my camera battery just died. And I hope it didn't die before we got to this point. I looked up and red lights are flashing. And I found this in my toolbox. One of them lower drawers. Something sketchy I made sometime at some point, but we should be able to use it and push. I'm hoping. Let me see if I can hold all of this together. I'm trying to hold it all together right now. You gotta hold it together, man. Stick this on here. Anytime I make some weird homemade tool, I always save it. Because you never know, but I think this is the combination. This is what's gonna work. Yeah, I can't believe they give it the old spreadaroo. How far are we? Are we even on both sides? Oh, yes we are. Look at that. That last step's all we needed. She's in even, right? Using the old micrometer it is. That's all you need. You just need one of those. Oh, that had me nervous for half a second. It's got some aluminum streaked over it. So that's pretty well it, folks. Tried to do it uncut, raw for you, just so you get to see it. Like I say, that last one that we changed, entirely up to you. Rarely do I see the rubber one split out. We just did it for the sake of show and tell. Plus, you know, the customer bought all three. You know, people ask, you know, why don't you lube it? This and that. Now, I'm not a machinist. I don't do things by the mill or the thou. But when it's an interference fit, does lubing it really help? I don't know. And I'm not trying to be a smart ass. I'm curious. In my mind, I think all it would do is scrape the lube. As we're pushing this through, all I think it would do is scrape the lube off. I think if you were going to aid this in any way, it would be to heat this. You know, take your torch, heat it up, and then, you know, press it in, or just, you know, slide it in like they do on the internet, where you just heat it up, stick it there, and it cools down, and, you know, Robert's your mother's brother. The problem I have found with heating up aluminum is the heat. You know, this is a giant heat sink. It just sucks the heat away pretty quickly. And by the time I'm sitting here dicking around with all this stuff, trying to hold it and get everything lined up, well, now the heat has transferred to my bushing, and now all we're dealing with is everything is hot. We're in the same boat. I have tried that and have had short-term gains pushing them in. Okay, I've gotten it like, oh man, this thing's going great. It goes about halfway. I've got to swap out to get to the bigger tool, and now everything is hot, and it just doesn't work like that. Sticking these in a freezer at, you know, 20 degrees F isn't going to do anything for you. If you want to prove it to yourself, just measure it with a caliper or whatever, and then stick it in your freezer and measure it again. It's minimal, if at all anything. But and no, I don't have liquid nitrogen and all that stuff. All the other questions, the answer is no, I don't have any of that. So we just push them in and out. Doesn't hurt anything, doesn't damage anything. But I honestly will say I've never seen one that has done that to me. Okay, because generally this is what I do. I always save the old bushings, I don't cut them, torch them, or anything like that. Just push them in and out. And then, as you saw, we use it to line up and push in because it gives you a perfect pushing apparatus without risk of damaging the rubber seal around the bushing. Particularly on these ones where that rubber seal seals out the junk because they're wigglers. So I'm gonna clean up my mess. I gotta let the camera charge up because now I've got it plugged into the cord, which isn't really convenient. This new camera eats batteries, like insane, like annoyingly it eats them. So anyhow, speaking of eating, I'm gonna eat lunch. You stick around, we'll come back, slap this baby back in there. I took and blew the dirt and the junk out of this. You know, you got to get it off the magnet there. Let's see. Let's slip her up on the axle. Wiggle that one down. I'm just going to stick and hold in that just to hold it. One size, fella. One of the skinnier ones here. Come on there, skinny. Right? That's the way it works. Okay. Woo! I tell still now. Alright, let's get all the rest of the bolts. I need a little Loctite for the 3. And that's about it. Let's see, get the big fatty. That's the big one there. Slide that baby through. Take this one back out. Oops, because this one's, the other ones are a little easier to line up. There we go, that one's through. Which way did this one go? Look from the inside or from the outside in as well. I would just look at the other side. Didn't pay much attention taking it apart. And then we're down to this last bolt here. Which way did that one go? Anybody remember? Front to the back. I don't know if it makes a big difference at the end of the day. This is all just car show stuff, really, when it comes down to it. We need to tip that bushing a little. Oh. We need to tip it down just a little bit. That's going to help line it up. Come on, baby. Here she is. And hold that still. Almost in. Gotta look on the back side here. There. So those are all in. And then get 3 nuts. Two of these nuts are the same size. One is not. You can't mess it up. Don't worry. There's no doing it wrong. Oh, I'm sure there is, but you'd really have to be forcing it. Oh, sugar. You know, we never took that bolt that somebody broke off. We never took that out. Well, now we have ethical dilemma. Ethical dilemma. How many of those have I been in my life? Oh, too many to talk about. So I put a little bit of blue Loctite on these. You want to make darn sure that these get started by hand. Now these can be a little tricky because they're going to have old Loctite stuff in the hole. So make darn tootin' that you are guided in before you just go bailing on it with the impact. Not so sure about that top one. I'm going to turn them a little bit by hand. That one turns. That one's 100%. This top one's the only one that was making me wonder. Looks good. A lot of slop in those. Stick our brake lines and stuff back in there. Can't see crap. I'm trying to light it up for you guys, but I don't think you guys can probably see what I'm doing anyway. Doesn't matter. And then there's a brake line clip. I think we skipped this part. I don't think I was recording initially. Well, there's just this brake line clip. It's pretty standard procedure here. Which way did the clip face? Back towards the line. Like I said, at the end of the day, is that a big deal? No. To a car show judge, points. Difference between a 3rd place and an 8th place trophy right there. All right, let's line up this shock bolt. Over here, right here. And we will do that the easy way. By letting the knuckle down. Come on down, knucklehead. Am I lined up? Gotta be close. Feels like I am. Hello. Yes, sir. We're just going in very gingerly. Not all the way. All right. Okay, now. Time to do some sketchy stuff. Doo-dah. Where'd all that wire come from? Doo-dah. We're gonna push her up to approximate ride height. Oh, let's see. We're just giving this a little. Well, where are we gonna let it go? I just don't want on that shock. And then the backing plate, will that work? You don't want it to fall and yank the wires. One thing I know for a fact. All right, now it's time to be the cause of the safety meeting. Sometimes you're the cause of the safety meeting, and sometimes you're the guy that they call because you're the only guy that'll do sketchy stuff. Hope I get away with it, oh-ba-doo-da-day. This is going to drive people nuts. Turning the bolt, holding the nut. The internet experts are going to go off the chart. This one I'm going to turn the nut and hold the bolt. Back to the 21. Going for the shock. The shocker. Okay, now that we have those snugged up lightly. 1, 2, 3. Why did I go way out on the end of the hub? You a moron? No. But I took 3rd grade physics, and that gives me the most leverage. As opposed to having it back under the arm here. I'm probably wrong on that too. But as I mentioned, it was the 3rd grade. It was a long time ago. Third grade physics. Long the bar, make heavy thing go up. I think that's all they taught us. What more do you need to know? That's torque to spec. Where the blue lock might go. So glad this container's almost empty. I've had it so long, it's unrecognizable. Plus the threads are stripped out, or the tops broke off. I don't know which. There's only a couple squirts left in it, but we're using it all the way to the end. I refuse to open a new jar. Before I went to lunch, I did hose it off here a little, in case you're wondering. I don't know if we mentioned that, or if you're wondering how it became clean, or I'm going to lightly snug these up until we come back through and torque wrench everything, as we always do. Okay, and we have one bolt left, and that's this bolt right here. Holding it like I'm smoking a cigarette. That's for the speed sensor. Oh, I left my light on. And that just guides in ever so gently. And that was a 10 mil. You just have to pretend. I don't feel like moving the camera for you. I'll just leave this bright light here and make a crappy video. Here we go. Feel like I'm not doing you good. Feel like I gotta make it like all the other YouTube videos. How's this? Okay, we're doing this next. Okay? You know what I'm saying? You've seen the videos where you're like, that didn't teach me anything. Okay, we're gonna lightly do that one. Oh, we have one thing left. That's this little guy right here. We pulled that out. We were testing our pull-out game. It was strong, and that goes this direction. Remember, we had to move that because it was in the way of something. Our bushing installation process. Come on, baby. Oh, you're a real pisser. Guess we should have put that in before we. Just try to get them fins going in the right direction. There we go. Okay. Wham bam. Oops, gotta get this one in there. Right, that's that one there. Tweak that one down, get the line in there. What makes that sound? Oh, the villagers on Minecraft. That's the witch on Minecraft. I'm not gonna mess with the broken bolt. Ethical dilemma solved. I call it custom. I mean, what if it takes me an extra half hour, 40 minutes? Drill it, can't get it out, gotta drill it, tap it. Forget about it. Who knows? It's probably been broke for a long time. It ain't going nowhere. Watch. That ain't going nowhere. That just made sure, because I tapped it. I am a dad. No sense in making a mountain out of a molehill, you know what I mean? So at this point, oh, I thought I saw something. At this point, what I need to do is torque the axle nut and put the wheel on, torque that down. Then it's got to go see Joshy. When he finishes his appointment over there, he's got to squeeze this thing in and line up the rear end and the front end, all four corners. The classic four-wheel alignment, assuming any of the cam bolts turn. But being 6 years old, it's pretty unlikely that any of that stuff's going to move. But we'll give it the old college try. And what I'll have him do is when it's on his lift, sitting at the correct ride height, he'll re-loosen all the bolts and then re-torque them all to factory specs while it sits on the alignment machine. Rest assured. $1.50. Should have ran her in with the Uggy Duggy. I don't want it to hit my brake hardware. Oh, torque wrench ain't even on. Ding dong. I have a feeling that we've gone over. Yeah, we have. Back it up, son, back it up. Let's back her up a little bit now. Gotta turn on your torque wrench. When I was a kid, you never had to turn on a torque wrench. I can hear somebody saying that already. That's what I'd be saying. I thought we were probably past the 150. There we are, 158.3. Okay. When I was a kid, now we'll keep that in our hand. Because you got this whole mess. When I was a kid, cars had lug nuts. Women didn't pee standing up. Well, times have changed. Ah, great. Okay, that's it. Let's torque this down, send her over to Joshy, and move on with our life. That's it, folks. Easy peasy. Pushing the bushings in and out of the back of your knuckle on your Jeep Cherokee. I think 2014 and up. I could be wrong on that. You're going to have to do your own research. You won't find anything in service info if you pay for service information because it's not a normal process, as they say in the North. And that's simply because the bushings aren't sold separate from Chrysler, so they're not, their engineers aren't going to write a how-to on pushing your knuckle bushings in and out. That's kind of up to you to do your own how-to. So whatever way you do it, it's going to be right, unless you do it wrong. But at the end of the day, they don't push in and out too hard. Maybe you've got a liquid nitrogen and a nice oven at home that you can super cool and super heat and slide stuff together, because that would make things a whole lot easier. But here in the shop and living in the real world, we don't have access to that stuff or have it easily available. So we do what we got to do. What would make this job ultimately easier in the end is having a dedicated receiver cup and a pusher tool to receive and to push. There's only two different sizes. Two of the bushings are the same and the other one isn't. It's slightly larger, as we saw. I'll put a link to the Astro Tools ball joint press kit that I used, just using some standard adapters and that. Most shops have those kicking around, whether it's OTC or Matco or Astro. The only caution I would give you is if you got the snap-on, Matco, or OTC ball joint press where all the adapters click together, it doesn't work that well because the C-clamp is much larger and the base for the receiving cup is about 3 to 4 times the diameter of your standard ball joint press, and it hits the knuckle, so it doesn't allow you to push on it straight. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. When somebody was commenting down there, like, how come you're not using the ball joint press that holds all the adapters? Well, you think I would if I could. but we can't, so I don't. But yes, I own one. And I would use that instead of playing the old finger game trying to hold all your adapters while you're lining stuff up. But like I say, if we had 2 dedicated adapters, just 2, it's easier to hold on to 2 things than it is like 5 things in a disc and trying to turn and all that without letting it drop on the floor 500 times. If you have somebody in the shop to help you, that's obviously easier too. But in our case, we're on our own out here. We're in no man's land. We're on our own. We have to overcome, and that's what we did. Anyways, why don't you guys come on down to that comment section. Go down there, tell me what you got to tell me. Look for us on the Insta, on the Facebook. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.